The Palmetto State honoring the life of a trailblazer in South Carolina politics. Good evening to you. I'm Brian McConkey.
And I'm Janet Parker. Former South Carolina Governor Jim Edwards was more than a politician. He was a surgeon, a leader, and an educator.
A who's who of South Carolina political heavyweights gathering in the Low Country today to honor the life of the former governor. Our Leah Holloway joins us in the studio now with more.
The Republican Party may be considered the ruling party in South Carolina politics these days, but when Jim Edwards was elected governor in the mid-1970s, he was something new. At the time, Edwards was the first Republican elected to the governor's office since Reconstruction, and today, the people who knew him remember Jim Edwards as so much more. The funeral began with a procession of family and ministers, his flag-covered casket, a symbol of his service.
The charming captain of our ship. Jim was a great man by any possible measure.
His career spanned the worlds of both politics and medicine. He started off as an oral surgeon before transitioning to state senate. He went on to serve as governor for one term and secretary of the U.S. Department of Energy.
Though he walked with kings and presidents and sat with captains of commerce and of industry, he never let office go to his head. He would often say, when you leave office, remember you go from who's who to who's he very quickly.
His family called him a lover of people, but most of all, they say Edwards was a lover of laughter.
He loved to tell the true story. Many of you have heard him tell it many times, of being in the hardware store, this really happened, in Monk's Corner, wearing his old hunting clothes, searching through the bins looking for nuts and bolts, noticed a woman looking up and down the aisles at him curiously, staring but never approaching. Finally, she came over to him and said, "Does anyone ever tell you you look like Jim Edwards?" And he said, "Yes." And then before he could say anything else, she said, "Makes you mad as heck, doesn't it?"
A humble farewell for a man remembered for his humor, humanity, and humility. Edwards leaves behind his wife Ann of 63 years, a son, daughter, nieces, and nephews. He was buried at the Christ Church Cemetery in Mount Pleasant. In the studio, Leah Holloway, Watch Fox News.